Well, welcome everybody to the November Lunch and Learn series for City of Albuquerque Lunch and Learn. My name is Tom Darling and I'm the Division Manager for Public Service University. And every month we are hosting these online lunch and learns with different topics, different things that we're covering to inform our city employees about great things going on. And we have great guest speakers. And so this month we have another great speaker from the Green Team. And we're going to be talking about recycling right. This is part two. Last month we did part one, where we talked a little bit about what you should and shouldn't recycle in your bin. And we were kind of kicking off a recycling effort at the city of Albuquerque to get recycling bins in every single department. And we were able to get that done. We were able to get every single department covered. And so now we want to make sure we take some time to inform everybody on how we should recycle, understanding the recycling process in Albuquerque, where we are as a nation, where we are as a city, and also, where we need to be and where we should be. So we have a great guest today. Our guest today is Jill Holbert from City Solid Waste Department. And Jill basically is the Associate Director for the City Solid Waste Management Department. She brings over 25 years of experience in integrated solid waste management, including waste reduction, recycling, composting, and disposal. Jill joined the city of Albuquerque in 2008, where her work responsibilities include increasing the city's recycling rate through solid waste planning and program development. Jill was named the 2015 Recycler of the Year by the New Mexico Recycling Coalition, which is an amazing thing. Statewide nonprofit organization. And Jill is also the marketing manager and a public information officer for solid waste. And in her free time, she recycles. So that's a lot, Jill. So let's all welcome Jill to the program, to our webinar. And then Jill's going to walk us through our presentation today. So go ahead and get your microphone and your camera on, Jill, and then I will hand the presentation over to you. Go ahead and get your camera. There we go.
Okay.
Hi, Jill. How you doing?
Hi. Good.
Great to have you here today.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the recycling landscape, what's going on in Albuquerque and actually worldwide, but also give you some helpful hints on what's recyclable and what's not. We are striving right now to make sure businesses and residents are educated on how to make recycling cleaner and recycle right, what they can and can't put in their recycling stream. So what are we talking about when we're talking about recycling or recyclables? This is a national slide here, basically a national chart. The green pie slice, that large pie slice, is paper. So basically when you're talking about packaging, you're talking mostly about paper. And just keep that in mind when we go through this presentation. So recycling in Albuquerque, the curbside recycling started in the 90s. In 2011, we signed a contract with Friedman Recycling to do the processing of that material. And in 2013, we rolled out the residential recycling carts. I'm sure a lot of you have those. And you can see the success of that program. That blue mountain on the screen is basically the amount of recyclables we're getting from the changes in the program that brought about more recycling, brought about the curbside carts being delivered. That's the good news. We've been very successful in getting people to recycle. Albuquerque has embraced recycling. Now we need to turn that around and educate people more on what can and can't go in their cart and recycle right. Okay, Tom, I'm going to use you as a guinea pig here. I have some recycling questions, and the questions, all three, you can answer each question. Each one has a different answer associated with it. But if you could answer these questions, can I recycle receipts made of thermal paper? Can I recycle sticky notes? And do I need to remove the address window from an envelope?
Okay, can I recycle receipts made of thermal paper? So I think I know the answer to this one because I was on the webinar last month. I think the answer is no.
That's correct. You can't recycle those. Thermal paper has chemicals in it that makes it not recyclable. If you don't know whether you have thermal paper, basically if you scratch it with your fingernail, it'll leave kind of a blue mark. As well, it's kind of shiny. So those are the things to look out for: thermal paper, and do not recycle it.
Okay. Can I recycle sticky notes? I think the answer is yes, but I'm not so sure about the adhesive on the back.
Yes, you're doing well. Yes, the answer is yes. Sticky notes can be recycled along with your paper. The recycling process, the manufacturers are sophisticated enough now, they remove that sticky part from the paper and then they can recycle it.
Wow. Do I need to remove the address window from an envelope? Well, I got to tell you right now, if I have to remove an address label from an envelope, the whole envelope probably going to end up in the trash. So I don't know. Can I?
No, you don't need to remove the address window from the envelope. You can recycle it with the address window. Again, the same answer as the sticky notes. The processes that they use to recycle paper are sophisticated enough to remove that address window. And in addition to that, you can leave staples and paper clips in your paper when you recycle it.
Wow, that's cool. Cool.
Good job, Tom. We'll get you on the next one.
Awesome. Awesome.
So National Sword is a initiative by China, and you may have heard about this in the news lately. Basically, they have banned a number of items from being recycled in China or being shipped to China, and it's really created quite the political storm and the panic among recyclers around the world. Basically, they wanted to cut down on what they called foreign waste, including plastics, industrial waste, electronics, other household waste materials, and that includes scrap paper as well. These photos at the top of the slide are actually of materials that were shipped to China, and honestly, there's a lot of trash in those photos. So I do understand what they're saying is that people were not always sending only recyclables. There was a lot of trash mixed in. So the recycling industry has also interpreted this as part of the growing rift between China and the United States as far as tariffs and the trade wars. So that's part of this as well. So China isn't necessarily the bad guy here. They have some goals that they are trying to accomplish with this initiative. They want to consolidate the recycling facility into eco parks, make them cleaner, larger, safer, better regulated facilities. They want to bolster their own recycling domestic markets. Why take in materials from out of the country if you can recycle your own materials, and basically spur modern solid waste management. But it definitely has a ripple effect through recycling throughout the world. Okay, Tom, sharpen your pencil. Can you put plastic bags in the recycling cart? Is bubble wrap recyclable, and is cling wrap recyclable?
Can I put plastic bags in a recycling cart? So my understanding is plastic bags of any kind, don't they get stuck in the machines at the recycling processing facility? So that would be no.
That's correct. That's correct. They do get stuck, and I'll show you some pictures of that. But they're really a disaster when it gets to the recycling sorting plant.
Okay. Is bubble wrap recyclable? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say no on that one too, because it's like plastic bags.
So the difference here is the plastic bags and the bubble wrap actually can be taken to grocery stores. A lot of grocery stores have a recycling separate containers that they have in the front of their store that you can put your plastic bags in to be recycled. They actually do get recycled. Those are going back to a distribution center that store operates. So you can actually put plastic bags in those grocery store drop off, not the front, not where we have the city containers, but inside the grocery store, as well as bubble wrap. There's other materials you can put in those grocery store collection sites inside the grocery store as well, like bread bags, Ziploc bags, dry cleaner bags, newspaper wrapping, air pillows, those air pillows that you get in boxes nowadays for shipping, as long as you pop them first. So all of those can be put in those grocery store inside recycling along with your plastic bags from the grocery store.
Great. My kids are going to be really happy to know that you have to pop them first before recycling. Cool. Is cling wrap recyclable? Gosh, I don't know. It seems like anytime you have cling wrap that you throw in the trash, it's like all wadded up. So, no?
Correct. No. Cling wrap is not recyclable at all. So not at the grocery store and not in your cart.
Okay.
You're still doing really well, Tom. Really well.
Trying.
So I don't want to paint a doom and gloom picture of recycling. Even though China has definitely affected the markets for recycling, there's been huge investments now in domestic paper recycling, bringing that industry back to the United States rather than shipping it overseas. So I just want to make sure that people understand that there is actually good hope for recycling in the future. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a year or two to bring some of these plants online. As well as, so our goal here is, again, to launch initiatives to fight contamination and make sure the recycling we deliver is as clean as possible. And we also want to embrace the, or emphasize the importance of recycling. It creates jobs, it saves money, saves energy, preserves natural resources. When you're recycling a material, it doesn't have to be made from raw materials, creates jobs, and reduces waste. So all of these things are good reasons to keep recycling. And locally, it conserves landfill space. We looked at 5 years, and in that period, we saved nearly $4.1 million and extended the landfill life by almost 7 months. So it definitely has an impact locally as well. Okay, Tom, you're up again. How can I clean recyclables without wasting water? One question.
Without wasting water?
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess I could rinse them out and then put the water into a plant or something. I don't know.
Well, we didn't have that answer, but I like that answer.
I don't know.
Basically, you get bonus points for that.
Oh, okay.
Basically, if you just air dry bottles, just make sure they're empty. They should be clean for the process. Use gray water. If you hand wash some dishes, you can use the end of that to rinse out your recyclables, or put them in your dishwasher. I joke about that because my mother actually puts her recycling in the dishwasher, and I tell people you don't really have to do that, but you can if you want to.
Wow.
But also use a spatula to remove gooey food like peanut butter or mayonnaise. Those items tend to be quite gooey and stick to the containers. I also want to remind you that we're just talking about plastics here. If you are recycling glass, don't put them in your cart. Take them to the drop-off sites if you have glass jars or glass jars or glass bottles.
You know, Jill, this is a really good question because I know, I always worry if I have a soda bottle or a milk container or something that's had something in it, as whether or not it's got to be, clean or not to go through, to go into the bin. So that it's good to know that, even if I don't use water, just to get the gooey stuff off of like a peanut butter container is good enough for it to go into the bin. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, use some common sense, but yeah, as long as it's either rinsed or cleaned, like I said, with a spatula, or all the contents are emptied out of a bottle, like a soda bottle.
Awesome. Yay.
Yay, you got bonus points on that one. So let's talk about recycling right. I've brought that up a few times already. Basically, a study in Chicago recently showed that 94% of people want to recycle, yet they don't necessarily know what that means. They don't necessarily know what goes in the container or not in the cart. And 80% of people had carts that had plastic bags in them, which we've already discussed is really bad for the recycling system. So people want to recycle, but they need the tools to do it correctly. So I promised you these pictures. These are actually pictures from recycling processing facilities that are dealing with plastic bags wrapping all around those moving parts. The bottom picture shows garden hoses and plastic bags and tubing and cords, electrical cords, all wrapping around these moving parts that are mechanically separating the recyclables. This is very similar to what Friedman has. These, once they get in there and they come from, inside your recycling cart, or if you bag recyclables and then our compaction truck breaks open that bag, all of them can end up in this situation. And we call these tanglers. Tanglers basically include, again, plastic bags, garden hoses, electrical cords, and they're really costly to remove. They have to shut down the entire line. They lose productivity. Workers have to hand untangle these. Again, it's a huge problem. So we're urging people that before they, when they do put recycling in their cart, they do not bag the recyclables and they do not put plastic bags or tanglers in the cart. So let's talk a little bit about contamination. I think I've thrown that word around a little bit. So contamination can be the wrong materials in the system or the right materials but prepared in the wrong way. So let me give you an example of a pizza box. A pizza box is recyclable. It's corrugated cardboard, but once it has food material on it, cheese or grease, then it's no longer recyclable. So it can be a little confusing to people. You can tear off the lid. If the lid is uncontaminated, you can tear off the lid and recycle that and throw the rest of it in your trash. If it came through the pizza delivery clean, because sometimes they have liners in them, then you can recycle the entire pizza box. But that's an example of why some people are confused. The Tanglers I talked about, the cords that are difficult. Again, it might seem like it's recyclable. There's wire in there, but again, it's a Tangler. It's difficult to get after it wraps around all the equipment at the plant, it's difficult to get out. And then again, do not bag recyclables. Actually, I hate to tell you this, but if you are bagging your recyclables, there's a chance that the whole bag is being thrown away and the materials, which are perfectly good recyclables inside the bag, may not be recycled. That has to do with the speed of the plant. You know, they're running through this material, and if they have to stop and tear open bags, they just don't have time for that. So just don't bag your recyclables and don't put bags in the cart. So we've launched the Recycle Right campaign already here in Albuquerque. It is aimed to start a conversation and encourage City of Albuquerque residents and businesses to know what goes into their blue cart or their teal bin. We're asking people to keep non-recyclable materials and trash out of the carts and the bins. These could include food waste, plastic bags, Tanglers, bubble wrap, and household hazardous waste. Those are things I've mentioned already. We want to share the best practices and share stories from the community. So there's a way to do that through social media, that you can share your stories about recycling right. We've also received amazing support from this campaign, including the president of UNM, Lobos players, and even the Girl Scouts of New Mexico. And they're all helping get the word out about recycling right. So Tom, here's the video. Are you able to play that?
Yes, let me bring it up for you right now. So just hold on one second and we'll bring that up. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we see the video.
All right, here we go. Okay, Jill, let me hand it back over to you. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
It's all yours, Jill.
Great, thank you. So if you saw in that video, they said that the contamination rate is 29%, and that's huge. That means almost a third of what we send to Friedman is not actually recyclable. It's either trash or it's people wish it was recycled or could be recycled, but it's a material that we don't accept in our program. So those are important things to look at. We have been growing in our contamination rate. Unfortunately, it's going the wrong direction, which is why we are working very hard to educate people on what they can. We also have this handy dandy recycling app. It's called Recycle Coach, and you can download it at your favorite app store. It didn't advance. I can't go back. Tom's got it. Yeah, I can't go back at all.
I think you had a lag there for a minute. I think that's all it was. Yeah, you have total control of your presentation.
Right. I can't go back. It won't let me. Okay, so let me give you a little heads up on Recycle Coach. I can't go back. So Recycle Coach is an app which you can get at your favorite app store. And if you put in, type in the word potato chip bag, for example, and if you want to know whether a potato chip bag is recyclable, you type that in and the answer is in fact no, and it'll tell you no. So it's a really good, handy, you carry it around on your cell phone, anywhere you are, you can ask it questions about what's recyclable and what's not recyclable. So we're promoting that as well. It's free to download. We're back to the questions. Tom, can I recycle styrofoam? One question.
Oh, goodness. Well, I used to think so, but I think I heard somebody say no, which is interesting because it says it's recyclable on the bottom of the containers, most of them.
Right, really good answer, because more bonus points. Styrofoam is recycled in some programs. It is not recycled here in Albuquerque. It is a very difficult thing to recycle. There's not a lot of markets out there for the styrofoam. Remember, when we're recycling, we're collecting materials to be made into other products. Remember, that is the goal, not just reduce what goes to landfill, but actually have them turned into new products. Styrofoam, unfortunately, is not made into very many new products. So there's a very limited marketplace to sell that material once you collect it. Therefore, we are not collecting it here in Albuquerque. But you're absolutely right, Tom. The bottom has the symbol, the chasing arrows, the recycling symbol with the number 6 in it. So it is confusing to people. So if you have styrofoam, even though it has the recycling symbol and the 6 in it, you are not, it's not accepted in our program. So please don't try to recycle it.
It's good to know.
So another thing we're working with, or we will be working with, is the Recycling Partnership. And they're a national nonprofit, and they will help us educate residents on recycling right and reducing contamination. And this is a really interesting process. They've been very successful, this campaign, in other cities, other communities. It's really a boots on the ground program where you actually go inspect carts that are set out for pickup. You leave behind an oops tag that says, oh, you put something in there that is not recyclable. Please don't recycle that in the future. It's a very, like I said, boots on the ground method of getting people to understand what's recyclable and what's not. And here's some of the target educational materials that they develop that are really, again, tried and true in getting people to understand what's recyclable and what's not. We'll hopefully be starting that in the spring. So what can we do as City of Albuquerque employees? Basically recycle right. Hopefully you learned something from this presentation. We also have information on our website. You can download the recycling app. So anyway, all of those can help you recycle right. Begin thinking about being green in your office, in your workplace. Don't print things that don't need to be printed. Print double-sided. Send electronic emails versus letters and paper letters. Think about reusing envelopes and things like that. All of those make a difference to the landfill, to the waste stream. And volunteer to assist your green team rep. There's green team reps throughout the city, and you can help with that effort as well. Okay, last one, Tom, and you've been doing really well, so we'll see if you can keep up your average here. Can I recycle a paper coffee cup? Can I recycle a paper napkin? And can I recycle a plastic takeout container?
Can I recycle a paper coffee cup? I'm going to say yes.
Yes, you can. And if it does come with, sometimes there's that little brown plastic sleeve and there's a plastic lid on it. Those are also recyclable, but you must separate them first. Take the sleeve off, take the lid off, make sure the cup is clean, and you can recycle all three.
Interesting. Okay. Can I recycle a paper napkin? I'm going to assume yes because it's small and it's paper, Is that correct?
No, no,
Oh,
you can't.
well,
You
I
can't
guess
recycle
it's got
paper
food on
towels
it.
or paper towel, and not even if they're clean, not even if they're unused. The
Yeah, I guess
difference,
that's what I was thinking.
yeah, they're just really, they've probably been recycled or may have been recycled already. The fiber in them is very short fiber. It's not valuable into being made into another product. And the same is true of tissue paper. Those are very short fibered products.
So does that also, what about the cardboard tube that the paper towel or the toilet paper roll is on?
No, those are good. The toilet paper roll, the paper towel roll, those brown tubes are recyclable with your cardboard.
Okay. Can I recycle a plastic takeout container? Plastic, not styrofoam.
Correct. Good point. Not styrofoam.
So like a clear plastic. Is that a yeah? No. I think I got this. The answer is no, because it has food in it, right?
Okay, you're overthinking this one, Tom. Basically, it is recyclable usually. And when I say that, I mean, yes, if it's clean, it needs to be clean.
Okay.
It does need to be not a number 6 styrofoam container. I know we're getting into the rules here, but not a number 6 styrofoam container. And it also cannot be compostable. And I know I haven't brought this up, but this is true of plastic bags as well. When they say they're compostable, they're actually made out of something else, PLA, bioplastics. And those are not the same plastic as other plastics, as HDPE or PET or polypropylene. So they cannot be recycled if they say they're compostable or if they say PLA on them. So the answer is mostly yes. Those clamshells, those clear takeout containers, sometimes they're black nowadays. They are recyclable as long as they're not PLA or bioplastic, compostable plastics.
And it'll say that
and they're
on
clean.
the container.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So that last one's qualified. And that's all I have for today. So if there's questions, I think, Tom, you handle getting those in.
Yeah, so let me see what we've got here as far as questions. We have a question here from Reina Martinez. Let's see. Can you tell me if you're recycling something with a label, such as a peanut butter jar, like we talked about earlier, is the label recyclable? I'm
Yes.
assuming, okay.
Yes. So if it's glass, the label's fine. If it's plastic, the label is fine. And if it's metal, like a dog food can or a cat food can, the label is fine. So yes, the labels are fine.
Yeah, I know a lot of times people wonder if they need to peel the paper off of like a tin can, soup can, something like that. So it's good to know that we can leave those on and they'll just get recycled. So that's great.
They actually burn off in the process. They go into a very hot furnace and melt that metal down, and the paper just burns off.
Vaporize. Cool. All right, Ted Chavez has one. Where do fluorescent lamps get disposed? Are there locations in Albuquerque?
That's a very good question. There are some, definitely our household hazardous waste contractor, ACT, takes them if you're a resident of Bernalillo County or of the city of Albuquerque. The city does pay for that, but as a resident, you don't pay for that. And the city facilities would also have to deal with that. And I don't know, I haven't talked to them recently, but there's a mail-in program for commercial buildings that you can mail in those bulbs, both the CFLs, the compact fluorescents, which are the curly Q ones, or the tubes, that you can mail them back to a recycler.
Great. Awesome. Okay, Tony Goulet, can you provide a description of the PLA and other plastics that you mentioned?
Yeah, so PLA are bioplastics, sometimes they're called. They might have a number 7 in the chasing arrows. Like we talked about the 6 as being confusing for styrofoam. Number 7 can be confusing because they can go on PLA. Generally, they'll say they're compostable. They're made out of materials that have an organic nature to them, so they break down in a composting program, but then they don't have the plastics that a recycling manufacturer of plastic materials would want. So they're not recyclable, but they're compostable. Again, that don't put them in your cart, don't put them into the recycling stream at all, and they can look exactly like plastic. They can look exactly like a material that's made out of another type of plastic, which is recyclable. So it can be confusing. So look for PLA stamped on it, look for compostable stamped on it. Again, it could say number 7 as well as those materials. You'll see it in drink cups, cold drink cups. I don't know if I've seen it in hot drink cups, but cold drink cups, you'll see it in plastic silverware, takeout containers, and bags, plastic grocery bags sometimes say compostable as well, which means they're PLA as well.
Cool. All right, let me see if we have another question here. Okay, Kelly Price has a question. Hi, Kelly. Compared to other cities, comparable ABQ population, et cetera, Tucson, Arizona, Salt Lake City, Amarillo, how is the city doing with its recycling program here in Albuquerque?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned those cities because I think we're probably doing pretty well against those cities. It tends to be a regional thing. So the mountain states, the western states, the interior western states all tend to have slightly lower recycling rates than the East Coast and the West Coast. So we are pretty average when it comes to the location we are in the country. But as far as nationally, we're behind. The national average on recycling is 34%. That EPA puts that statistic together. When we just look at our residential program, we're right around 20%. So we still have a lot of opportunity to grow our program.
Great. Okay, let's see if there's another question here. Marissa Chacon, is Albuquerque looking into doing a city composting program such as Seattle?
We definitely have looked into it in our recycling, our solid waste integrated waste management plan. It calls for picking up organic material from the curb on a subscription basis. So in other words, everyone wouldn't get a green cart, if you will, a green waste cart. But if you wanted it, you would pay a little extra for that and have that delivered to you and have that service provided to you. We have not gotten that out of the gates yet. That's still in the planning phase, but we have not, like I said, rolled that out yet. And I know that's what Seattle has, and some of the other big West Coast cities have separate organic collection at the home.
Great, thank you. All right, looking for some more questions here. Anybody else have a question for Jill or the green team? Here's another one. Let's see, from the press room. This is over at Aviation. If we can recycle small electronics, do we need to cut the cord off?
Yes, please. Yes, in the curbside program, you can put electronics in. Please cut the cords off. You saw what happens with cords and the equipment. All electronics can be taken, large and small, can be taken to Eagle Rock Convenience Center. We still charge the entry fee, the $5 a load entry fee to get in, but you can recycle cords there. You can recycle flat screen computers, computer monitors, that type of thing there that you wouldn't want to stick in your curbside cart.
Awesome. Awesome. Great question. Anybody else have a question? Got some more time here.
Maybe we stumped them.
or we did a good job with your presentation. Oh, here's another one. Okay, let me just pull it. What is considered a small electronic?
Yeah, so in our curbside program, really anything that can fit in the curbside cart is a small electronic. But I do have the caveat, we don't want monitors in there because of the broken glass. That's the same reason we don't take glass bottles or jars in our curbside recycling program. So if it's a glass monitor, please take it to Eagle Rock. But if it's small, any type of mouse, keyboard, electronic toy or console, those can all go in your digital camera, cell phone. All of those can go in your curbside cart.
Great. So Raina has another question. Can you go over mail out advertisements and some do's and don'ts? It's all that is fine. I kind of went over some of the paper recycling issues, and
All of that is fine. All of the advertisements that come in a newspaper or are in your mailbox, you know, they're mailed as a junk mail, if you will. Those are all fine to be recycled. I know in the past some people remember when you actually had to treat them differently, but now all magazines, catalogs, newspaper, office paper, all that could go together in your curbside cart or your city recycling as well. Some, you know, I get junk mail at my office too. So
good. All righty, here's another one from Antonio. Where could a business take drums of used motor oil?
So businesses have a different, they need to arrange for that themselves. So I'm probably not the best expert on that, but they can talk to ACT, which is our contractor, and ACT handles all the household hazardous waste. Again, there is a charge for that to the city, but not to the resident who brings it in. So if you're a business, the city does not cover that for you, and you would have to talk to ACT and pay any fee that's involved. But I definitely want to promote ACT to anybody who, again, lives in the city or county. You as a resident would not be charged for materials, and they take all household hazardous waste. Again, we talked about fluorescent bulbs, compact fluorescent bulbs. They take a variety of materials, and you can find those on our website as well.
Awesome. All right, Tony has a question. Where does the seasonal green curbside waste end up when solid waste picks them up?
Oh, thank you. Good idea, Tony, because it's going to happen on the 3rd. Yeah, starts Monday for 2 weeks. So on your regular garbage day, have your green waste at the curb. Make it 5 feet from your cart so we can pick up your cart without breaking bags or tipping over what you've set out as your green waste. But basically, that all ends up at the landfill. We have a chipping operation, a mulching operation. It doesn't matter if it's woody, we will take grass and leaves as well. But we mulch it up, and we've got a huge project that we will be undertaking very shortly with closing some of the landfill cells that are to capacity. And part of our design of that cap is to put chipped mulch, chipped green waste, chipped woody waste on the top. And we basically, for the first phase, we need 6 inches of over 30 acres, and just kind of figure that out in your head. That's a lot of wood chip. So that's what your green waste is going to be going to for the next few years.
Wow. All right, Bart has a question. Can we put envelopes, papers, etc., into cardboard boxes and then recycle the box as a whole? Or do we have to dump it all out into the bin?
It's better to dump it out into the bin, honestly. If you take a tour of Friedman, you'll see that there's a lot of fast-moving parts. People are grabbing material and pulling out things that are not recyclable. And anything that takes a little more time could jeopardize whether it gets recycled or not. Now, granted, a cardboard box is probably going to be recycled, so it will probably make it through the system, but I like to err on the side of caution and have everything loose. And everything, actually another point to be made, is loose and in it's kind of its original form. So it's better if you don't squash cans. It's better if you don't squash plastic bottles or milk jugs. The equipment is actually set up to recognize material in its original form, its original shape and size, and that flows through the system, through the mechanized system, the fastest and the easiest.
So even aluminum cans, we don't smash them anymore?
It's better if you don't. I'm not saying that anything will happen, you know, that they won't get recycled, but the system, again, is set up for them in their whole form, the mechanical sorting system.
It's good to know. All right, Kelly has another question. Depending on the cost of printing, will the new recycling cards contain a picture of the recycle coach and or an item list of what you can or cannot recycle?
You know, we looked at that in 2013 when we rolled out the carts. Those carts last about 10 years. So we do actually replace them as needed, but we don't actually replace them very frequently. Let me put it that way. They're really tough carts, which is good because they're about $50 each. So wow. They're expensive. So we looked at that at the time we rolled them out in 2013, and it was really a matter of cost. In order to have that printed on the cart, it was an extra $1 per cart. And we were rolling out about 150 to 70,000 carts at the time. So it was a cost issue. So it's not a bad idea. We just, again, we didn't do it based on cost.
Great. All right, Ted Chavez has a question. Does the green waste need to be in clear bags?
No, the green waste is a separate program. It does not go to Friedman. We collect it and take it to the landfill, and then we use temporary workers. We use the Better Way workers actually to rip open the bags. So they will rip open the bag whether it's clean or clear, excuse me, or whether it's a garbage bag.
Great. Okay, any more questions for Jill or for the green team? We've got a few more minutes here if we can take in more questions, if you have one. Okay, it looks like that's it. Well, Jill, I just want to thank you so much for being on this Lunch and Learn with the Green Team this month. Really informative information. And, you know, recycling is, it seemed, well, in the past, it used to be just, you know, everything we thought we knew, but, you know, obviously it can be more complicated. And I think sometimes when people think, well, gosh, I just don't know what to put in there, and I can't make up my mind, so it's easier just to throw it away. And so what we really want to make sure we help everybody understand is it's not difficult to do this. It's not difficult to be able to identify, you know, things that should or shouldn't be recycled. We just need to make sure that, you know, we just follow the instructions. And as Jill mentioned before, the Recycle Coach app is an amazing tool. So if you have an iPhone or you have an Android phone, just go to the Play Store or the App Store and type in Recycle Coach, download it, select Albuquerque, and then it basically will tell you everything that goes in the bin. You can ask questions. It's a great resource for being able, you know, anytime you have a question regarding what goes into that bin. And especially now that Christmas is coming, we're going to have so much paper. We're going to have lots. Here's a good one. I'm assuming, Jill, that we don't want to put ribbons and bows into the recycle bin. Is that correct?
That's correct as well. Yeah, those are not recyclable.
So
reusable, though. You can reuse them again and again and again.
Right, which is being sustainable. That's the other thing. You know, we're talking about recycling and repurposing and reusing. So it's just really important that we do our part. And I just want to encourage all of you here at the City of Albuquerque. Every department now has recycling bins in their departments and in their divisions. And so we want to encourage our employees to make sure that we are also recycling here and making best use of being a sustainable city. Because when we're sustainable, obviously we're repurposing, we're reusing, and we're just being responsible individuals, and we're meeting the goals that we have to be a fully sustainable and responsible workforce. So thank you again, Jill, for being here. I really appreciate you speaking. Just want to let everybody know that next month we are not having a Lunch and Learn with the Green Team next month in December, but in January we are, and it's going to be on January 17th at noon. And we're going to be talking about air quality. We're going to be talking with the environmental health. No, I'm sorry, that's the next one. We're going to be talking with transportation and the transit department on a lot of really, really fun stuff related to transit, which we want everybody to be a part of. So that's January 17th. So make sure you tune in. We'll have notices up on eWeb. We'll let the Green Team and everybody know when the next one's coming up. And we appreciate everybody being here today. We thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest. And make sure you tune in and have a great day. And we thank you very much. So thanks, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.